Some of those smooth jams, quiet storm music, man. This perfect quiet storm moment with this record. Darkened room, candles lit, curtains closed, four walls. If they can tell a story, they can tell quite a story, but it's classic quiet storm. Jazzy record, Heaven Help Me by Deon Estus. It's a beautiful record at number 32 on my fantasy playlist of March 18th, 1989. With some help by George Michael. Deon Estus associated with George Michael, but I'll get into that in just a minute. Deon Estus from Detroit. He graduated from high school in 1974. He was in a band called Brainstorm, and they released a couple of albums, maybe 3 albums. But by the early 80s, Deon Estus, he moved to Europe. He lived in Belgium, he lived in Ireland, and he moved to London. He was offered a chance. Oh, before I get to that, you won't believe this. He was a bass player. Guess who taught him how to play bass? He learned it from one of the masters. You won't believe it. I just found this out. James Jamerson, phenomenal, legendary bass player of the Funk Brothers, Motown's in-house band. James Jamerson, who played bass on a lot of the famous Motown records, including My Girl, that dun 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 dun. James Jamerson taught Deon Estus how to play bass. How about that? Well, let's see. Jumping from one Motown thing to another, Marvin Gaye, he was offered a chance to play on Marvin Gaye's comeback album called Midnight Love. How'd you like to come play on my album, Deon? Gonna be a chance of a lifetime. He turned it down. He was too busy. Too busy making records. Too busy recording. He didn't realize that this would be Marvin Gaye's last album. Of course, nobody did. Sexual Healing was the big hit off that album, Midnight Love. But no matter. In 1984, maybe 1983, Deon Estus was offered a chance to play with Wham, with George Michael. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was a bass player with Wham. How about that? Play on Careless Whisper and Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, and other songs by Wham. I can't remember their names right off the top of my head, but really upbeat records. And later on, he backed up George Michael on his Faith tour. Played on his first 2 solo projects. Went to China with Wham. Do you remember when Wham went to China and performed in China? Which was really big. Big ado. I think Freedom was the video that featured them in their concert, doing a concert in China. I remember that so vividly. George Michael was talking over the video. When the video started, George Michael was talking about what it was like to perform in China. I remember that vividly. Well, Deon Estus played on that tour, released his solo album called Spell in 1989, and George Michael returned the favor, sang on the record with him, with Heaven Help Me, coming in at number 32 on my fantasy playlist of March 18th, 1989.